All right, what's going on, y'all? There we go. Hey, what's up? All right, I'm gonna send this. Let's see. This is my first live stream using StreamYards. I'm trying to send a link to my buddies, get them to join in for my stream. Uh, Sending the mic, Derek, Nick. I'm sending out just invitations. Y'all could just join the live chat. You don't have to jump on camera or nothing like that if you don't want. I'm just doing like a little test. Hmm. Nick at. All right. All right, I'm sending that out. Well, I guess I'll start off with what started me with the hobby of watching pro wrestling. It starts all the way back in, I want to say like daycare or kindergarten. So this is like way back in 87, 88, somewhere around there. So I remember, it was a group of us. I think it was like Latchkey or something like that at, at the end of the day. And, they'll have like a big projector. They have a big projector up there and play like cartoons like the Jetsons, the Flintstones, uh, what else? Tailspin, DuckTales, all of that stuff. Um, they even had on like Purple Rain movie with Prince. but but I remember them playing like WrestleManias back then. And hold on, let me check my okay. All right. So it was all the way back in kindergarten. They'll play like WrestleMania. So I remember like this huge battle royal and blood. So, you know, I'm only like, I don't know, like 5, 6 years old or something like that at the time. And, I thought like wrestlers, that was big, like them big wrestlers like Andre the Giant and King Kong Bundy. It was always scary looking at me. But I always liked watching the show. So my mom, she told me that I got my my love of pro wrestling from kindergarten class, pretty much, because she was with me I was sitting at the TV and she was changing the channels and she came across some wrestling and she said that I told her to leave the channel there and she let me watch WWF back then. So it was called WWF at the time, and only time I really got to watch wrestling as a kid were on the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday. So you had like let me turn my camera on here. I'm not a bad looking guy. All right, just this. So, where were I? Where was I? Oh yeah, the weekend thing. So, like Saturday morning, they would have like WWF Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. So, it was mostly, you saw like it was like mostly the mid card guys you'll see on there, like Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect. Um, but I don't know, Bret Hart. I wouldn't really call him a mid card or whatever, but I don't know. I guess he was back at that time, like in the '80s or whatever. 'Cause he was still like in the Hart Foundation. I guess he was already out of the Hart Foundation. I don't know. You had your British Bulldogs, Hacksaw Jim Duggins. So it would be mostly of them wrestling jobbers on there, and then at the main event, you actually see two uh, wrestlers with bigger names fight each other. Like you'll see like Texas Tornado versus Mister Perfect, But all the other matches before the main event was mostly like jobber squash matches. Um, I don't know if I'm just checking something here. Okay, I'm just checking on my YouTube, see if my live is going. Just checking something here. Okay, I'm just okay. So I don't know if I'm supposed to look in the YouTube. I don't know if I'm supposed to look at the YouTube page or my StreamYard page. I know my StreamYard is it has no delay. So I guess I'll just type something here. And this is my first time using StreamYards here. All right, back to the story with the weekend wrestling as a kid. So, Saturday morning, I'll be at home usually, or even over my grandparents for the weekends. So we'll watch that. And then when wrestling, I think, wrestling, the WWF Superstars, it'll come on like around 11 or something for about an hour. And then once that's off, um, I think it's Pee Wee's Playhouse or something. And then it went off. And then no more cartoons for the day. So we all went outside. And then I remember WCW way back in the day too. I only really watched that at my other grandparents' house because they had it on TBS and stuff. I remember it used to come on like 6:05 um, on a Saturday. On a Saturday night, 6:05 in the evening. So I don't really remember too many of the wrestlers back then because I was quite young. Um, I remember Sting sometimes. Um, I remember Larry Zbyszko because I always remember seeing the guy with black trunks with a Z on the back of it or whatever. But I was mostly a WWF guy. So I didn't really know too much about WCW too much until one of my buddies down the street was telling me about it back then. But, I really wasn't watching WCW too much until the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars started happening. Um, I was watching a little bit. I had stopped watching wrestling for a while, like around, I guess when the new generation happened. I guess that was like around 93, 94 or something, 95. I really wasn't watching too much. I was mostly playing like video games back then. Um, so like Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and I had some of the wrestling games too. But um, so that's how I really, yeah. So I was playing video games mostly in the mid '90s or whatever, and one of my other buddies down the street, he was telling me about Razor Ramon being on Monday Nitro, and I knew about Monday Nitro, but I really wasn't watching too much. Or um, so this was like back in '96 when Scott Hall first appeared on WCW, and he walked out through the crowd, walked into the ring, and just declared war pretty much. And that's how the Monday Night War started. And he was the original member. Shout out to Scott Hall, rest in peace. He was like one of the founding fathers of the New World Order, or the NWO, with him, Kevin Nash, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So so you had the Monday Night Wars between Monday Nitro, WCW Monday Nitro, and WWF Monday Night Raw back then. And they were head to head. Only way you could watch both is if you had to keep clicking the last button on the remote, flicking channels. Or what I did was I would watch Monday Nitro live and then tape Monday Night Raw at the same time, and then I just watch Raw the day after, like after I got home from school. But it depended. It depended though, because sometimes it was vice versa. Because Monday Night Raw did have like some hype stuff going on. Like back then, it was must see TV back then. You couldn't really miss an episode of Raw. You had to see what was going on with. I'm gonna share some things real quick. You couldn't really miss out on the feud between Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. All right, so I'm posting there. um, I'm trying to invite some of my friends into this chat. There's nobody in the chat right now. uh, who else I can tag? I'm gonna just tag all of my wrestling buddies right now. I don't even care if I only have like, where's Nick? He quit Facebook. And I be spelling his name right. No, come on, man. It's like one of the main guys on one of the. Who else can I bring in here? Um, and people could be out on chores and errands and stuff like that. So, all right, back to the story. All right, so yeah, it was must see back. It was must see TV back then. Like you really couldn't miss an episode because you know it was really exciting back then. It was some good stuff. Um, going to high school that I went to, uh, it was pretty rough on the brains. So like I don't know. Wrestling was always kind of like my escape. To get away, ease my stress or whatever. Um, and the fun part was to go to school the next day and talk about wrestling with your buddies during lunch break and after class and stuff like that. And so you know. So that was pretty cool right there. So I came out of high school in 2000. So from from 96 to 2000, that was a good chunk of the Monday Night Wars or the Attitude Era. You know, so the reason they called it the Attitude Era because you know once Scott Hall and Kevin Nash left WWF and went over to WCW, and they really wasn't in character. They was going by their real names. They was just they just showed up in jeans and t-shirts. It looked real. It looked like they invaded WCW. Like they thought, yeah, people thought they invaded WCW coming from WWF. And doing an invasion. So back then WWF they was still doing like the like the character driven type like family friendly type hokey stuff. So you had your Doink the Clowns and Duke the Dumpster Drosy and all that stuff and all these different characters. Like Undertaker still lasts to this day. I mean, I know he's retired and everything, but that was like the one of the best characters out there, the Undertaker. I remember when he first showed up. And this was like a little over 30 years ago. I'm 40. So um um go back to my stream right here. So speaking of the NWO and Scott Hall, like he was always one of my favorite wrestlers coming up. Um, I know some people thought, he was always Scott Hall before he even became Razor Ramon. Um, but he was Scott Hall in the NWO. Like he just had like he was like the coolest. Even when he was like Razor Ramon, like he was just like the one of the coolest wrestlers, like the coolest character, like so laid back, uh, cool, like funny, so like nonchalant or whatever. But you know, um, he had his demons and stuff like that. And part of the reason why he was so like carefree and laid back and stuff because he was like, the alcohol and stuff like that. So guys would literally be on TV, intoxicated. So um, it just sucked that he had the way he had passed away. Um, he had heard. I found out the story actually on Kevin Nash's podcast. Yeah. Oh, look, I got another person here. Oh no. Um. Oh, on yeah, he explained it on Kevin Nash's podcast. Uh, I forgot the name of it. Join the Click, or something like that. It's new. It's only been out for about I say like a month or something like that. And he was saying that Scott Hall was in this kitchen and he's making something in there and he's about to make a drink. Some ice came out and I guess some ice chunks that fell on the floor, but I guess he didn't really realize it. And he had ended up turning around to grab something off the counter. He ended up slipping on the ice, falling down really hard, where he ended up breaking his hip. And he was laid. He was in so much pain he really couldn't move. He didn't have no help, and I think his cell phone was really out of reach. Um, I don't remember how he was able to get help, have somebody, but I don't think somebody even showed up to his house until like the next day. I think he was like laid down on the floor the whole time by himself in pain. So when he did get the help, um, he was about to get some surgery done or something, and he ended up getting in like three or more. I think it was something around three heart attacks, and he ended up going in a coma, and then they was talking about putting him on life support and stuff. I was like, come on, man! Like he spent all them years training and getting right, getting his life together with DDP yoga, with the rehab and everything, losing weight and getting back into shape. Um, I mean, he was a much older gentleman. Like he was like in the 60s at the time. So yeah. So um, I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I think I might just end the stream here. So stream, trying to get some more people in here. All right, so this is my first stream here. I was gonna give like a little backstory of my love of pro wrestling. Uh, I was really, I watch All Elite Wrestling. I had just got back into. Oh yeah, I know what I can talk about. This new Triple H era, since Vince got he's no longer around the WWE anymore. So he had stepped down. Yeah, so back in high school, even in college, I loved watching Monday Night Raw. WCW ended up getting bought out back in 2001 when I was in college. So I didn't really get to watch too much Monday Nitro in college. Like my first year, I didn't really have cable my first year in the dorms. So only way I really got to watch some wrestling was I even tried to schedule some of my classes around Monday Night Raw, so I wouldn't miss anything. So I would go to, sometimes I would go on the weekend to get my hair braided from my mom, and I'll watch Raw at home, and then just end up driving back to school because I really wasn't even that far from from campus in either. I was only about like a half hour away or so, and I'll spend a weekend at home, hang with my mom and my buddies at on the block, and but around that time, you know WCW is gone, so WWE, well, it was WWF until like 2020, no 2002, and became WWE, and they had that get the F out, so they had like a lawsuit going on with the World Wildlife Federation because they have the same acronym, so that's why they just changed it to WWE. Um, so wrestling, it has made a huge turn since Vince McMahon ended up stepping down. I'm not really going to get into the whole Vince story because this is a long story. He ended up, it's pretty much an investigation done on him for like hush money, stuff like that. So it was a lot going on, and it was just bad for the brand, for WWE. He just had to step down. So his sister, I mean, not sister, his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, and Nick Khan, they're like co chairman of WWE, and her husband, Hunter Hearst, well, Triple H. Well, they just call him by his real name, Paul Levesque. He is in charge of he's the head of creative and the head of talent relations. So he's pretty much in charge of what's going on backstage, and talk about a true comeback story because the man was almost near death last year. He had to step away due to a heart condition, and he had to go to the hospital for it. It was just so much bad stuff going on, like since lockdown since the pandemic. All those wrestlers getting. That's why I didn't like Vince what he was doing. He was killing WWE the way he killed off NXT, Black and Gold. Uh, them firing all those wrestlers in the middle of the pandemic like that. That was just so wrong. And then they weren't even allowed to do. They weren't even allowed to do third party ventures such as Twitch, um, Cameo, like other platforms where they can earn an extra income. So you're going to fire these guys in the middle of a pandemic without another source of revenue to come in, and that was just so wrong. I felt bad for them. And I lost a lot of respect for Vince McMahon for doing that. And it wasn't even AEW's fault for winning the ratings. They was like they were the new kids on the block. Of course, everybody was going to watch AEW. I was still watching. They was trying to compete. Vince wanted to compete. NXT was already better on its own on the WWE network back then when it was only an hour on Wednesday nights. So when WWE found out that they were coming into town on cable on TNT, they actually pulled NXT off the network and put it on USA on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. And this was like a month before AEW even debuted on TNT. So, they tried to get a head start, which didn't really work in the long run. And so NXT Black and Gold was on USA at 8 o'clock for 2 hours live. And, NXT was supposed to be for developmental, for the young cats to come up and train and become the superstars of the future. So it really wasn't even fair for NXT to try to compete with All Elite Wrestling, where they had like more established wrestlers. And AEW was still new back then, but and they didn't really have a huge roster, but the people that they had there were legit. You had your Chris Jericho's, John Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and back then I really didn't have access to Ring of Honor in New Japan. I knew where they were. I knew about I knew who the Bullet Club and stuff were. You know, but I didn't have uh, Ring of Honor television and New Japan and stuff like that. So I really didn't know too much of like the storylines back then. But it was pretty much kind of like the Bullet Club was almost like it was just like another New World Order um, kind of slash a more serious the Generation X, but more of like a New World Order. Like it's pretty much like a biker gang type thing. So you know, All Elite Wrestling, like I was really excited. Like, I was really excited about AEW coming up, and this was back in 2019, and it all started with a bet with Dave Meltzer and Cody Rhodes on Twitter about Dave was saying that some arena won't get filled by some indie show or something like that. And then Cody put a bet on it. He's like, I bet you can. I bet you I can. And I guess Tony Khan got note of it because he's a wrestling fan himself. The only difference is between him and I, he's like super rich. So, he could just make his own show. So, but this is a little later on. So they I guess Cody and I know he was like in a Ring of Honor at the time because he wasn't even with WWE at the time. He was still with bouncing back and forth between New Japan and Ring of Honor. So they put on a pay-per-view show called All In, and it was a Ring of Honor production. So it was like a huge indie pay-per-view, and it was a huge success. It looked like it was sold out from when I seen it. And they had that AEW, and then a little bit after that, they had like an All Elite Wrestling press conference with like the Young Bucks and Jericho and uh, Cody and stuff like that. So they ended up debuting in October of 2019, and it was really some exciting stuff. Um, and I always had loved like the original NXT. Not that goofy TV show version, like the first couple of seasons. I'm talking about when Finn Balor was the champion. I think I didn't have Hulu back then because NXT was exclusively for that for a while, and when they brought out the network came out back in, I want to say, 2014. So it's almost going on about 10 years. It's getting close to that. I can't even believe it's been going that. It's been that time is going by so fast like that. So, um, I forgot what I was talking about. um, yeah, the original NXT, the black and gold. Um, those NXT Takeover pay-per-views was so hype, just like way better than like the main rosters pay-per-views, which is like Raw and SmackDown. Like when I had the network, it was like $10 a month. It was a good deal too. Like you had your pay-per-views on there, and then NXT and all other old stuff. But like when I had the network, um, hold on a second. When I had the network, I only cared mostly about NXT and the pay-per-views, and then always loved the original ECW too. I'm talking about the original ECW, not that WWE garbage, watered down garbage they had. Um, it just wasn't the same. Like the WWE version, it just wasn't the same. Um, the original ECW, it had like that old, it had that old underground gritty fight club feel to it. Like the production, like looking back at it now, like the production of it was like not really good or whatever. Um, it had it fit though, like it had its identity. Um, it was just so hype back then, so violent too. Like a lot of cursing and blood and stuff like that. Um, the reason why I liked NXT so much because it did have like that old school ECW feel from back of the day a little bit. They didn't have, it was TV. I think it was TV PG, but so they weren't cussing them in blood and stuff like that. And if you did see some blood, it would have been on a pay-per-view or by accident because WWE is not really allowed. They weren't allowed to bleed on there since it was TV PG. Like back when it was TV 14, they had more freedom, but you know, so um, now that Triple H is back and running WWE, things are looking much better. You're starting to see the wrestlers that were fired. They're starting to come back because NXT, that was Triple H's baby right there. Like he was the one that was running it. Um, so a lot of you know the honeymoon period, even though AEW been around for close to 4 years now, this October coming up, um, the honeymoon period is over, and they really gotta push it. You know, I mean, they're doing a great job. Just Tony Khan, he really is gonna have to restructure the background, the backstage with like. He just needs more help. He needs somebody to be. He needs to be more of a boss and take control of his roster. Don't let people go off script, because what CM Punk did was just like totally embarrassing to AEW, and like um, I just don't even. I was one of the guys that was super excited about CM Punk coming back last year. You know, I was watching that. I was watching this entrance video clip over and over again just to watch how crazy the crowd was in Chicago. Like it was like really amped. Um, I know the people in the crowd that was there live. Like I know they wasn't able to hear the music playing or hear him talking. Well, he didn't talk. It was like mostly the music, but that crowd was like so loud. Like that was like the loudest um, I ever heard in a long time. You know, because the stars were aligned for that moment. You know, Um, he was away from wrestling for about 7 years when he left WWE back in, I want to say 2012. Um, so you got that. He's coming back from retirement. He's coming back in his hometown of Chicago. So, you know, love him or hate him, CM Punk was like, he's like treated as a god in Chicago, pretty much. Love him or hate him. So, it's just so looking back then, how he comes in as the new hero. Um, you know, people throwing him his flowers and cheering, and him saying that he wanted to come back, and he wanted to come back and help the young guys in the back. Help them succeed. He's putting people names over. Britt Baker, Darby Allin was like his first match. You know, um, his first feud and his first match for that pay-per-view, All Out last summer. I can't believe it's been a year already. You know, so it's like things has like changed so much since then with CM Punk. Like he's just um, like everyone has a right to defend himself. Like I'm not saying that he's wrong, but it was the way that he did it and how he did it. You have to you know things like serious like that at the job. If you have a problem with something with a coworker or something like that, you got to take that up with management, back behind closed doors in private. All of them could have talked together, and a lot of them were wrong for what they did. Even like Tony Khan, like he was sitting right there next to CM Punk as he was just going off, just burying like the executive vice presidents of All Elite Wrestlings which are Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson. They go in and like Punk asked for it. He was like, "If you got a problem with me, you know where to find me." Da da da. So they pulled up. They actually pulled up or whatever. But you ain't supposed to pull up if you're the executive vice president of a company. You know what I'm saying? You part of management. You can't be going and fighting backstage and stuff. And then you got Adam Hangman Page. He's cutting that promo on CM Punk in the ring. Like he went off the script on him, talking about CM how CM Punk goes around talking about workers' rights and stuff like that. And you got this wrestler Colt Cabana there. They were friends, and he pretty much had to get pushed to the side in order for Punk to work there because they had a lawsuit and they had a big falling out. And so you got wrestlers that's friends with Colt Cabana that don't like that CM Punk is there because Colt Cabana is not able to wrestle in AEW right now. Like he got pushed to Ring of Honor because of CM Punk, and Punk is like this big name, this huge draw. Um, Tony Khan should have shut CM Punk's mic off at that medium scrum right then. He should have shut his mic off. It would have stopped a lot of that bleeding. Like you just coming from that pay per view. MJF makes his big return. He had a really good tag match and stuff. Some awesome matches in the pay per view, but a lot of that stuff wasn't even talked about because of the CM Punk stuff, and that was just so messed up, man. Like, and I like collecting I like collecting action figures. I got a bunch of all of the AEW wrestling figures. Like I got some Ninja Turtle NECA figures back here. Let me see here. Get your boy. Get your boy Michelangelo here. I'll show off more on another day. This is just want to stay on topic here. When that these fall off. So, even like on social media, there was all like, it's a 1 year anniversary of CM Punk making his debut from last year, and them showing like the old clips of him coming back and all that. And I'm just looking at it, I'm like, all right, whatever now. Like, it's just messed up, man. He has some anger management, some mental issues going on there. And I care way more about the future of All Elite Wrestling more than CM Punk. And I know that CM Punk is a huge draw and everything. He's like this polarizing character. Like you have tons of people that hate him, and then you have tons of people that love him. I was like one of those in between guys. I like them or whatever. I like that he speaks his mind and he don't back down or whatever. But it's just a time and place for things like that, and you just don't go. You just don't go on live TV and just start acting crazy like that. And like on a live mic and sitting right next to your boss and the man that's paying your salary, that's paying your contract. Like Tony Khan was just sitting there. I don't think I ever seen somebody share so many facial expressions and emotions in one setting like that. Like you see him sitting there looking over at Punk all, and he's like chugging his water and all, say something. And then when he did try to say something to him, Punk kept cutting him off. He wouldn't even let him speak. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like you are. All of this is just like a total embarrassment, man. Like I'll never let one of my workers disrespect me like that. That's crazy. So, like I just lost a lot of respect for him. Like they got a new CM Punk Walmart exclusive figure out. I haven't seen him in Michigan or whatever, but I really don't even care now. Like I have a Punk figure. Um, it's him with the long tights though, and the Walmart version is him with the regular trunks. So I don't know. I got a CM Punk T-shirt and his figure, but I don't really feel like buying no more of his merch now. The way he's just been, and then he's saying he's like best in the world and all of this stuff. He comes back, he ends up getting the title. He wins the title twice. You're the world champion and you still pissed off. Like, come on, man. So that Wednesday night, um, I think it was last week. Last Wednesday, they had to today's Saturday. Yeah, the Wednesday of last week. Tony Khan made an announcement that the trios tag team championships and the AEW World Championship. Oh, let me show you. Speaking of the World Championship belt, I actually had an AEW belt right here when I went to AEW Blood and Guts over the back in. This thing's heavy. Yeah, this is it here. This thing's heavy. Yeah, so he said that the AEW World Tag Trios Championships were vacant, and the World Heavyweight Championship was vacant. So that meant that the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, they had lost the belts that they had just won that Sunday night, but they got suspended because they were in that backstage brawl with CM Punk. They said Omega wasn't even fighting; he was trying to get CM Punk's dog out the room or something like that. So it was just a lot of crazy mess going on. But they just had to do a soft reset for that Dynamite last week. So he announced the tournament for the world title, and he had a trios tag team championship match for the vacant titles between the Lucha Bros and Best Friends. So my boys, the Lucha Bros, are Best Friends versus Death Triangle, 3 versus 3, because you have Lucha Bros and Pac versus the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta. So you got your new champions there, and we had Jericho versus Danielson, and Danielson beat Jericho, so he's going in the finals versus John Moxley. So I don't remember when they're gonna fight. I think they're gonna. Oh, next Wednesday is um next Wednesday is what was that? The Grand Slam. Yeah, AEW Grand Slam. So they're gonna end up fighting each other for the belt. We're gonna have another a new champion. It's crazy too because Danielson and John Moxley, they're part of the same stable of the Blackpool Combat Club, BCC. It's him, Danielson. Regal is the leader of it. It's like the mouthpiece for it. Wheeler Yuta, he had just lost his title. His some Ring of Honor title. He had Pure Wrestling Championship. Yeah, he lost it to Daniel Garcia a couple weeks ago. And Ring of Honor Heavyweight Champion. I was almost going to call him his old name. Claudio Castagnoli. Trying to think of what else was going on. So AEW. It's crazy too because you had people that paid $50 for the All Out pay per view. I think it was like 2 Sundays ago now. You know, Kenny Omega just came back a couple weeks ago. He ended up winning the championships with Young Bucks, and then just to get it stripped. And I'm the type of guy that I know a lot of uh, dirt sheet stuff that goes on backstage with the wrestling stuff, and with the podcasts and everything. So if you don't even follow what's going on like Twitter and social media and stuff like that, yeah, people don't even know what that happened. Like why that the elite are not on TV and not the champions anymore, and why CM Punk is not on TV and why he's not the champion anymore. Like it was like some of that pay per view was like non-canon. Like they didn't even mention their names on that following Dynamite. No pictures of them, no video. Just they weren't even mentioned. Like those matches didn't even exist. So that was just crazy, man. But stuff like this can't happen again. You know, you just got to stay professional when you're a wrestler. Um, all right, I'm going to get off of here now. I think we're at about 52 minutes here, so it's nice talking to you all, and hopefully I get more people in the chats and like and subscribe. All right, you all. It's a nice sunny Saturday. I'm gonna try again later tonight. I guess I just picked the wrong time to do a live stream or whatever. It is a Saturday afternoon. People are out running errands, doing grocery shopping and stuff like that. I was just doing this as a test, but like I just kept talking. So let me know in the comments below how you like the show. I have the StreamYards here. So if you want to come up and chat with me on video, you come up on the panel, we could like talk. You don't have to show your face if you don't want. You just put an avatar there and just have like a good mic. Just let me know. So you all have a good one, and I'll check you guys next time. Peace.